Imagine holding in your hand a coin so ordinary it almost disappears into the palm of your hand. And yet, that same coin could hold the power to change your life forever. That's not a fairy tale. That's the story of the 1937 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, one of the most unassuming little pieces of copper ever struck in the United States, and today one of the most sought-after treasures in the coin-collecting world. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, "Come on, it's just a penny," let me stop you, because this tiny cent, minted nearly 90 years ago, has been turning up in collections and even in dusty jars of loose change, carrying a potential value that can stretch into the millions. In fact, some have hit the current market at over $937,000. Imagine what a stack of pennies in your drawer might really be worth if you only looked a little closer. But let's go back for a moment. The year was 1937. The Great Depression was still casting its shadow across the country. Money was scarce, every cent mattered, and yet millions of pennies were minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark. These coins were never meant to be rare, just everyday tools of survival. People clutched them tightly, spending them on bread, milk, or maybe the occasional luxury. None of them imagined that decades later, collectors would be hunting these same cents like modern-day treasure seekers. So what makes the 1937 penny so special? Why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for something that was supposed to buy a stick of gum? The truth lies in condition, rarity, and the stories attached to these coins. Most of the 1937 pennies were used, abused, worn down in pockets and purses. But a few, just a handful, survived in pristine condition, their edges sharp, their details clear, their surfaces gleaming like they just left the mint. Those are the coins that send collectors into bidding wars, driving prices higher than anyone could have imagined. Here's where the excitement really begins. If you found one of these 1937 no-mint mark pennies in nearly perfect condition, you wouldn't just be holding history, you'd be holding a ticket to financial freedom. Think about that. A single penny trading hands today for nearly $1 million. What would you do with that kind of windfall? Pay off debts? Buy your dream home? Travel the world? Or maybe just smile at the thought that you outsmarted the odds? Now, I know what you're thinking. Sure, but the chances of finding one are slim. And you'd be right. But here's the twist. Rare coins don't always sit behind glass in museums. They hide in change jars. They rest in old family heirlooms. They sit forgotten in the back of drawers. Some of the most valuable pennies ever discovered were found not by seasoned collectors, but by everyday people who bothered to look just a little closer. Maybe you're one of them and you just don't know it yet. And here's where fear creeps in. How many of these coins have been spent carelessly? How many times has someone tossed a fortune into a vending machine or handed it to a cashier without a second thought? It happens more often than you'd think. That's why urgency matters. Because every time another penny is lost to circulation, the ones that remain become even rarer and even more valuable. Of course, humor has its place too. Imagine explaining to your spouse that you accidentally tipped the pizza delivery guy with $1 million coin. That's one argument you'd never live down. But behind the laugh is the truth. Awareness is everything. If you know what to look for, you're already ahead of the game. So let's talk specifics. On the 1937 Lincoln penny, the absence of a mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. Check the date. 1937. Crisp and centered. Look at Lincoln's profile. Does it have strong detail in the beard, the cheek, the jawline? Examine the reverse side. Is the wheat stalk sharp, the lettering bold, the luster still shining? These are the hallmarks of a penny that can make jaws drop at an auction. Condition is king. A well-worn coin might fetch a few dollars. But a flawless one? That's where the bidding rockets into the hundreds of thousands, even pushing close to that $937,000 mark. And here's the cliffhanger. You may be wondering, could your collection, your jar of change, even your wallet be hiding a 1937 penny worth this fortune? The only way to know is to look carefully, closely, and sooner rather than later. Because as more collectors wake up to the value of these hidden treasures, the hunt intensifies, and the window to discover your own life-changing coin narrows every day. So here's my challenge to you. After this video, grab that old coin jar, open that dusty box in the attic, flip through the change in your wallet, and take a serious look. You might be staring at copper that could change your future if you found this journey into the secret world of the 1937 Lincoln penny eye-opening. Make sure you subscribe for more insider strategies on rare coins worth money. Because sometimes the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one is no bigger than the size of a penny. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary that millions of people once carried it in their pockets without giving it a second thought. A coin you could have bought a stick of gum with in 1946, now holding a secret capable of rewriting your financial future. This is not a fantasy. It's the story of the 1946 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a 1-cent coin that today, in rare cases, can command up to millions of dollars, with a current market value reaching an astonishing $946,000. And the only question that really matters is this: have you already touched one without realizing it? Think about it. Most people glance at their spare change, sigh, and toss it into a jar. But what if inside that jar, or buried in a shoebox of forgotten coins, lies a key to wealth and freedom you never expected? The kind of wealth that could erase debt, change retirement plans, or even turn a dusty childhood coin collection into your life's biggest blessing. Let's go back for a moment. The year was 1946. America had just emerged from World War II, factories were roaring, and millions of Lincoln cents were minted to fuel a booming economy. Most of these pennies were copper, weighing about 3.11 grams, with a smooth rim and the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. But not every coin came out of the mint looking the same. Some carried tiny errors, striking quirks, or unique qualities so rare that collectors today will fight tooth and nail to own them. And it's those hidden differences that transform a coin from pocket change into a fortune. Now, here's where it gets exciting. The no-mint mark itself isn't the rare part. Philadelphia struck billions without a mint mark. The real treasures are in the details. Double dies where Lincoln's profile looks slightly shadowed. Off-center strikes where part of the design drifts awkwardly across the surface. Coins preserved in mint-state condition, untouched by circulation, that gleam as though they were pressed yesterday. Combine those traits with history, scarcity, and collector demand, and suddenly that humble 1-cent piece is worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your entire retirement account. Imagine the shock. Someone cashing in a 1946 penny they found in a box of heirlooms, expecting a couple of dollars, only to walk away with 6 figures. Sounds outrageous? Maybe. But coin auctions don't lie. There are collectors out there with deep pockets, and when the right coin surfaces, they pay prices that seem impossible. That's why this coin has reached nearly $1 million in market value today. Yes, $946,000. For a single penny. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Every day, people unknowingly spend pennies that could have been their ticket to wealth. They hand them over at gas stations, drop them into tip jars, or leave them jingling in car cup holders. And once it's gone forever. How many fortunes have been lost in plain sight, slipping through the cracks because someone didn't bother to look closer? So how do you know if you have one? Start simple. Pick up a magnifying glass and study your 1946 pennies. Check the date carefully. Look for doubling on the numbers or on Lincoln's face. Inspect the edges for striking errors. And most importantly, pay attention to condition. Collectors crave luster, sharp detail, and coins with no scratches or wear. If you find one in pristine shape, the kind that looks like it skipped circulation altogether, you may just have a small piece of history worth life-changing money. Now, don't let the fear of missing out paralyze you. Most 1946 pennies aren't rare, and many will only fetch a few cents to a few dollars. But isn't it worth the search, knowing even one extraordinary example could elevate your financial life forever? The treasure hunt is part of the adventure. And let's be honest, checking your pennies beats scrolling social media for the 100th time, right? Think about the possibilities. What would you do with nearly $1 million from a single coin? Pay off your mortgage? Travel the world? Secure a legacy for your family? That dream is sitting inside jars, drawers, and forgotten collections across the country. The only difference between the person who discovers it and the person who doesn't is simple. One chose to look. But here's the kicker: these coins are getting scarcer by the year. Collectors are snapping them up, locking them away, and driving prices higher. Every day you delay, your chances shrink. And that's why this moment matters. Because if you've got a 1946 penny in your home, you may be holding a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity without realizing it. Don't wait until you hear another story of someone cashing in a coin for 6 figures and think, that could have been me. Go check your coins now. Dig through that jar, that box, that old wallet from your grandfather's drawer. Because the next coin that changes everything might be sitting just a few feet away from you. And if you want to uncover more hidden treasures like this, coins that could hold the key to wealth in the most unexpected ways, make sure you subscribe right now. The world of rare pennies is bigger, stranger, and more rewarding than you can imagine. And your journey into it has only just begun. Imagine holding in your hand a coin so small, so ordinary, that most people would pass it without a second glance. Yet hidden inside that same coin could be the key to unlocking nearly $1 million, and in rare cases, even more. The 1949 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny may look like just another cent, but today it stands as one of the most extraordinary treasures in American coin history. And if you have one, your life could change forever. Now, here's the twist that makes this coin so fascinating. It wasn't designed to be rare. Over 217 million of these pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1949. They were never meant to disappear into legend, never meant to carry jaw-dropping value. But what makes a coin like this suddenly explode into worth, rising to $949,000 in today's market? That's the mystery we're about to unravel. And trust me, by the time we're finished, you'll never look at the pennies in your change jar the same way again. Let's start with what makes the coin unique. At first glance, it's the classic wheat penny design. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse. But here's the catch. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark, which means any 1949 penny without that little D or S under the date could potentially be the golden ticket. The key lies in condition, rarity of surviving examples, and above all, the dramatic rise in demand among serious collectors. Here's where it gets interesting. Think of the millions who once spent these coins on bubble gum or bus fare. Nearly all of them vanished into circulation, scraped, scratched, and worn down. But the few pristine survivors, the ones that somehow avoided the grind of everyday life, became coveted jewels. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have documented specimens in stunning mint-state red condition. And these are the coins commanding eye-watering values. A collector today is willing to put down nearly $1 million for a single piece. Why? Because rarity isn't just about mintage. It's about survival, it's about the chase, it's about the prestige of owning something almost no one else has. And that leads to the question I know you're wondering right now. Could one of these rare treasures be sitting quietly in your home? Maybe tucked in a coin jar on the kitchen counter? Or hidden away in a box of keepsakes you haven't touched in years? If that thought makes your heart skip a beat, it should. Because every year, stories emerge of ordinary people discovering rare pennies worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in the most unexpected places. Some of these finds happen by complete accident. A grandfather's collection passed down, a forgotten drawer opened, or a garage sale purchase that turns out to be a jackpot. But let's be honest, how many of us actually check our pennies? Most of us can't even remember the last time we looked closely at one. We toss them aside, complain they're a nuisance, and treat them like dead weight in our wallets. Yet history has proven time and again that the smallest things often hold the greatest value. It's almost funny, isn't it? The very coin we dismiss as worthless may be worth more than our homes, our cars, even our life savings. Now, here's where the urgency comes in. As the market for rare coins keeps growing, and as more collectors compete for fewer surviving examples, the prices are climbing faster than ever. Just imagine the regret of someone who discovers a 1949 penny too late, after it's already been sold, after the window has closed, after the $1 million opportunity has slipped away forever. That fear, the fear of missing out on life-changing wealth, is what keeps collectors constantly searching, constantly vigilant. And yet, there's another side to the story, a side that inspires rather than frightens. Because if you're listening right now, you have a chance that millions of others don't. You now know what to look for. You know the year, you know the detail, you know the incredible potential. The opportunity is literally in your hands. That's not just luck. That's power. Imagine the possibilities. Picture yourself holding a penny you found in a small jar, taking it to a professional appraiser, and hearing the words, "This is a rare 1949 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny in mint state red, and it's worth nearly $1 million." Imagine what that would mean for you, for your family, for your future. A lifetime of dreams suddenly within reach because of one overlooked coin. Of course, the natural question is, how do you know if your penny is the one? That's where patience and precision come in. Look closely for details. Sharp strikes, vibrant red luster, no major scratches or signs of wear. Then, if your coin looks promising, send it to a professional grading service. It's the only way to confirm whether your penny is just another cent or the rare masterpiece collectors are fighting for. Here's the final cliffhanger. Even though the 1949 penny is already skyrocketing in value, experts predict that in the coming years, as more collectors enter the market and supply continues to shrink, the price could rise well beyond today's $949,000 benchmark. That means the penny you ignore today could be worth several million tomorrow. And the only question is, will you be the one to find it? So here's my challenge to you. Tonight, instead of tossing those pennies aside, take a moment to really look at them. Search carefully. Check the dates. Pay attention to the details. Because somewhere out there, hidden among billions of ordinary cents, is a coin that could completely rewrite your financial story. If you found this journey as thrilling as I did, make sure to subscribe. Every week we uncover more secrets like this: coins worth money, strategies to build wealth, and opportunities most people miss. Don't let another chance slip through your fingers. Subscribe now, stay alert, and who knows, the next millionaire coin might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Imagine this. You're digging through an old box in your attic, dust on your hands, maybe a little annoyed that you even bothered to open it. And there, under a pile of forgotten receipts and yellowed envelopes, you see a small copper coin. At first glance, it looks ordinary, almost worthless. But what if I told you that this unassuming penny could unlock nearly $1 million of hidden value, and that people across the country are unknowingly sitting on the exact same kind of treasure? Now, before you laugh this off and say, "A penny worth millions, that's ridiculous," let me remind you of one undeniable fact. The rarest coins in U.S. history have turned everyday people into instant millionaires. And tonight, you're about to discover why one of the simplest, most overlooked coins in American history, the 1950 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, has quietly risen to become a powerhouse in the collector market. Its current market value? $950,000. That's right, a single cent transformed into a small fortune. But here's where it gets thrilling. Most people don't even know they have one, and many have unknowingly spent them, given them away, or left them rattling in jars on kitchen counters. That's the tragedy. And the opportunity. Let's peel back the curtain. The year was 1950. America was rebuilding, the war years were behind us, and the economy was booming. Lincoln cents were rolling off the presses by the hundreds of millions. Philadelphia, the mother mint, released pennies without mint marks, millions of them. They jingled in pockets, bought candy, bus fare, even cups of coffee. Nobody thought twice. They were just pennies. Disposable. Forgettable. So what makes this little coin worth nearly $1 million today? It's not just age. It's not just scarcity. It's the perfect storm of condition, demand, and history. While billions circulated, almost none survived in pristine, untouched, near-perfect mint condition. And collectors today pay staggering sums for those survivors. Imagine a coin so flawless it looks like it was struck yesterday, copper still gleaming with that fiery red brilliance. That's what drives the price sky high. Now, let me ask you, how many times have you tossed pennies into jars or left them in your car cup holder, assuming they'd never be worth anything? Every time, you might have passed up your own life-changing moment. It's a little scary, isn't it? The thought that you might have had a treasure in your hands, only to lose it forever? That's the fear collectors and treasure hunters live with, but it's also the excitement that keeps them searching. And this isn't some dusty story from the past. In recent auctions, 1950 Lincoln cents in perfect condition have stunned the market. Record-breaking sales, shocked bidders, jaw-dropping headlines. Some hammer prices have touched nearly $1 million. Think about that for a moment. One penny, the kind you might have brushed off the sidewalk, commanding enough money to buy a luxury home. Here's the kicker. You don't need to be a professional collector to find one. Anyone can. It could be sitting in a coffee can in your basement, a forgotten roll of pennies inherited from a grandparent, or hidden inside that junk drawer every household seems to have. Ordinary people just like you are discovering them every single year. The only question is, will you be one of them? But here's the urgency: condition matters. If your 1950 penny has scratches, heavy wear, or discoloration, its value drops dramatically. But if it's been protected, if it still shines with that fiery luster, then you may be holding a once-in-a-lifetime financial windfall. And let's be honest, how many of us would love to stumble into nearly $1 million without lifting more than a finger? And here's where it gets really fun. Think about the irony. People step over pennies on sidewalks every day, muttering that they're worthless. Yet in the quiet corners of coin shops and auction houses, collectors are fighting tooth and nail, wallets wide open, desperate to own the very pennies everyone else ignores. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The most underestimated coin in your pocket could be the one that finally changes your life. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, grab that jar of pennies. Look closely. Pay attention to the date. 1950. No mint mark. Check the condition. Because the next big discovery could be yours, and you don't want to be the one who realizes too late that you let fortune slip away. And if you're wondering how to take the next step, how to sell, how to maximize your profit, that's exactly why you're here. This channel is built for people who dream of turning forgotten coins into real wealth. Don't leave your financial destiny up to chance. Because the truth is simple. The wealth is out there. The opportunities are in your hands. And sometimes, they're as small as a penny. If this made your pulse quicken, if it made you think twice about those jars of change sitting in your house, then don't stop here. Subscribe, stay with us, and let's keep uncovering the treasures hidden in plain sight. After all, the next $1 million penny could be waiting for you. Imagine holding a coin so small, so ordinary, that most people would pass it along without a second thought. Now imagine that very same coin sitting quietly in your pocket, secretly worth nearly $1 million. The 1957 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those extraordinary little treasures that looks common but can completely rewrite your financial future. Right now, collectors are paying as much as $957,000 for the right coin. Yes, you heard that correctly, a single cent with a price tag approaching $1 million. Why would anyone pay that much for a penny most of us would throw in a jar? The answer is part history, part rarity, and part pure collector obsession. Let's rewind for a moment. The year is 1957. Dwight D. Eisenhower is president, Elvis is climbing the charts, and the American economy is humming with optimism. Pennies were still being struck in copper, carrying that iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln introduced back in 1909. Millions were minted, mostly in Philadelphia, which explains the absence of a mint mark. On the surface, there is nothing special. And that's the trap, because most people think if something looks common, it must be worthless. But as every serious collector knows, the truth is buried in the details. A 1957 Lincoln penny might be worth a penny, or it might be worth more than your entire mortgage. Condition is king. Coins graded in pristine, uncirculated condition are where the staggering values begin. Imagine finding a coin from 1957 that has never truly circulated. Its copper surface blazing with a fiery red luster like it just left the mint yesterday. Those are the specimens that auction houses fight over, and it's those examples that now push prices into the hundreds of thousands. Fear creeps in here, doesn't it? How many times have you let a penny slip through your hands without looking? How many tiny fortunes have we all ignored, casually spending them on gum or coffee? Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying a slice of history, a link to a simpler time, a rare survivor of America's past. But there's another secret that makes this coin even more fascinating. Among the 1957 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies, a small number exhibit striking errors, double dies, misstrikes, off-center impressions. These errors transform the coin from interesting to one-of-a-kind. And in a market where one-of-a-kind means priceless, a humble penny suddenly leaps into the realm of luxury assets. Think about it. The same way people pay millions for a rare diamond or a Picasso, they'll do the same for a flawless or error-marked penny. Here's where urgency comes in. The market for rare coins isn't static. Values rise and fall with demand, but right now, demand is soaring. Every day more Americans wake up to the reality that old coins sitting in jars and boxes could hold life-changing wealth. Imagine watching someone else sell the very coin you once overlooked, only to see it headline an auction for nearly $1 million. That sting of regret is real, and it's the reason you should check your change, check your drawers, check every dusty tin in your attic right now. Now, let's inject a little humor for balance. Picture explaining to your spouse that you can't take out the trash yet because you're digging through the bag for a penny that might pay for your dream retirement. Sounds ridiculous, right? But it's not a joke. It has happened before. Regular folks have stumbled across coins in couch cushions and cereal boxes worth more than luxury cars. Isn't it ironic that we chase investment tips from Wall Street while ignoring the treasure sitting under our noses? The deeper you go, the more you realize these coins are not just collectibles. They're vehicles of wealth and legacy. That's why seasoned collectors and wealthy investors chase them. They don't see a penny. They see a hedge against inflation, a store of value, a conversation piece that can be passed down generations. The 1957 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just about copper and numbers. It's about the thrill of discovery, the fear of missing out, and the undeniable proof that opportunity is always closer than you think. But let's keep it real. Not every coin will make you rich. Most 1957 pennies will still be worth face value, maybe a few bucks in average circulated condition. That's the reality check. And yet, that's also what makes the rare ones so powerful. They hide in plain sight among the ordinary. They trick you into believing they're worthless until, one day, someone smarter looks closely and realizes what they have. Which side of that story do you want to be on? The person who shrugs and spends it? Or the one who recognizes the treasure and cashes in? Here's a cliffhanger for you. Imagine that right now, somewhere in your house, a 1957 penny waits in silence. Maybe it's in an old purse, maybe in your grandfather's toolbox, maybe taped to a scrapbook page. What if that coin is the key to not just a new car, but a new life? If you don't check, you'll never know. And if you don't act, someone else will. So here's my challenge. Tonight, take a few minutes. Look through your pennies. Pull out every 1957 you find, especially those without a mint mark. Study their condition, and if you see one that gleams unnaturally bright or has unusual features, consider having it professionally graded. That small step could transform an overlooked cent into a once-in-a-lifetime payday. The 1957 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny reminds us that wealth often hides where we least expect it. Sometimes, opportunity isn't in the stock market or a business plan. Sometimes it's right in the palm of your hand. If this video sparked even a hint of curiosity, don't let it fade. Subscribe now because in the coming weeks, I'll reveal more coins like this, ordinary on the outside, extraordinary on the inside, waiting to change lives. And who knows? Imagine pulling a faded penny from a jar of loose change. A coin so ordinary, so overlooked, that most people wouldn't even notice it. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, specifically a 1965 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent, has the potential to transform into a fortune worth nearly $1 million? That's not a fairy tale. That's reality for collectors who understand the secrets hidden inside America's smallest coin. And if you're holding on to one right now, you may already be sitting on a life-changing treasure. This coin doesn't shout for attention.
No glitter, no gold.
Just a plain copper-colored disc with Abraham Lincoln's profile. But history gave it a secret edge. The year 1965 marked a massive shakeup in U.S. coinage. Silver was being pulled out of circulation, minting practices were rushed, and the government removed mint marks to discourage coin hoarding. That's right, no mint mark at all. To most people, this was nothing. To serious collectors, it was the start of a hidden gold rush. And here's where things get exciting. Some 1965 Lincoln pennies, through a mix of rare errors, untouched condition, and sheer survival, are now commanding values in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. One pristine example shocked the market with a valuation of $965,000. Think about that, 1 cent turned into nearly $1 million. Imagine the look on someone's face when they realize the change sitting in their kitchen drawer is worth more than their entire house. But why this coin? Why 1965? Here's the twist. During that turbulent time in the mint, mistakes slipped through the cracks, off-center strikes, double dies, misaligned lettering, and even transitional errors from 90% silver planchets mistakenly used for cents. These rare anomalies turned ordinary pocket change into masterpieces of history. A coin that survived untouched for decades in uncirculated, gem-quality condition could be your golden ticket. Now, let me pause for a moment and ask you, when was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Most of us toss them aside, annoyed they even exist. But what if ignoring that small copper disc means throwing away a six-figure paycheck? Kinda makes you want to dig through your couch cushions, doesn't it? Here's where the urgency comes in. Collectors and investors are scrambling for these 1965 cents. As more of them are discovered and graded, the remaining untouched examples only climb in value. The simple supply and demand. Every day that passes, every coin that gets locked away in a private collection, the chances of finding your own treasure grow slimmer. You don't want to be the person who discovers too late that you once had one of these coins but let it slip away. And here's a thought that keeps people awake at night. What if you already spent one? What if a coin that could have changed your family's future slipped through your fingers in a casual trip to the grocery store years ago? That sting of regret fuels the hunt for many collectors. Better to search now than wonder forever. Of course, this isn't just about money. It's about legacy. Think of the story you'll tell when you pass down not just a penny, but a piece of history that reshaped your family's future. Imagine the pride in saying, "This one coin changed everything." That's not just collecting. That's rewriting your destiny with something so small it fits in the palm of your hand. And don't think this opportunity is reserved for professional dealers or wealthy investors. Some of the most shocking finds have come from everyday people. Teachers, truck drivers, retirees, ordinary Americans who simply decided to take a closer look at the change in their pockets. That's the beauty of it. This is one of the few chances in life where luck, persistence, and knowledge combine to create life-changing wealth. So what should you do right now? Start searching. Look for 1965 pennies with no mint mark and pay close attention to their condition. If you spot sharp details, a flawless surface, or unusual errors, you may be staring at a rare treasure. Consider having them graded by a professional service because a coin certified in high mint state condition is where those astronomical values come from. Now here's the cliffhanger I promised. Somewhere out there, in a jar, a box, or maybe even sitting inside your wallet right now, another $1 million 1965 penny is waiting to be found. The question is, will it be you who finds it, or someone else? If you're ready to uncover more hidden fortunes in the coins you already own, make sure you stick around with me. Subscribe now because every coin has a story, and the next one we uncover together might just be the key to your financial freedom. Don't miss the chance to turn pocket change into a wealthy lifestyle. The search begins today. Are you ready to find your treasure? Imagine finding out that a tiny copper coin sitting in a forgotten drawer could be the key to a life of financial freedom. What if I told you that the humble 1968 D Lincoln penny, a coin most people dismiss as pocket change, has been known to sell for nearly $1 million, yes, up to $968,000. The kind of money that doesn't just change your day, it changes your destiny. Stay with me because this isn't just about coins. It's about discovering overlooked opportunities that can make ordinary people wealthy beyond their imagination. Let's start with the penny itself. At first glance, it looks like every other brown cent you've handled 1,000 times. A worn Lincoln profile, the date 1968, and a small D beneath it, marking it as minted in Denver. Nothing flashy, nothing that screams fortune. And that's where most people stop looking. They see a penny, I see potential. The world's wealthiest coin collectors, serious players with deep pockets, are hunting for versions of this coin with rare flaws, unusual strikes, and pristine conditions that make them nearly priceless. Imagine walking past a treasure chest because it was painted the color of rust. That's exactly what happens every single day with these pennies. Now, why is the 1968 D so special? First, the sheer rarity of certain error varieties. Some of these coins carry double dies, off-center strikes, or minting anomalies so scarce that fewer than a handful exist in collectible condition. To a trained eye, these errors are not flaws, they're signatures of rarity, like a fingerprint of history. One collector might see a barely visible doubling on the date and pay a fortune for it. Another might fight in an auction for a penny so perfectly preserved it looks like it never left the mint. And here's the kicker. These aren't pennies you'll find sealed behind glass in a museum. They're in circulation, tucked away in jars, hiding in shoeboxes, forgotten in dresser drawers. Think about that for a second. Right now, in your own home, there might be a coin sitting idly by that has the power to wipe out your debts, pay for your children's education, or secure the retirement you've dreamed about. Most people will never notice it, but you will because now you know what to look for. Isn't it ironic? We chase big paychecks, high-risk investments, endless side hustles. While a single penny could hold the kind of value hedge fund managers envied us, so how does a penny climb to a market value of nearly $1 million? Auctions. Picture this. A room full of passionate collectors, each one holding a paddle, each one determined not to lose. The bidding starts at a modest number, 5,000, 10,000, and then suddenly it's climbing faster than you'd ever expect. 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. The room grows tense. You can almost feel the electricity as two bidders lock eyes, neither willing to surrender. And in that heated moment, a penny most people would throw into a tip jar becomes a symbol of power, history, and wealth. The hammer comes down at $968,000. A single cent turned into a small fortune. But here's where it gets interesting. If you're watching this, you're probably not just curious, you're hungry. Hungry for knowledge, hungry for opportunity, hungry for that chance to turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. And the fear of missing out? It's real. Every day, more of these rare coins are discovered, sold, and locked away in private collections, never to return to circulation. Every day you wait, the odds get slimmer. Wouldn't it sting to find out that the coin you dismissed yesterday sold today for more money than your house is worth? Now, let's bring this back to you. How do you find one of these rare 1968 D pennies? Start simple. Go through your change, your old jars, the forgotten coin rolls at the back of your desk. Look closely. Sometimes the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth $1 million is no more than a tiny detail in the strike. A slight doubling of the date, a mint mark placed just off-center, an unusually crisp shine from perfect preservation. You don't need a magnifying glass the size of a telescope. Just patience, awareness, and the willingness to see what others ignore. And let's not forget, condition matters. A coin in pristine, mint-state condition can multiply in value faster than you think. Imagine it like a vintage car. A dusty old model might earn you a nod, but one that's polished, restored, and flawless, that turns heads at auctions and breaks records. So yes, clean hands, protective cases, and the right storage could be the difference between just a penny and my penny sold for almost $1 million. By now, you might be feeling the weight of possibility. Excitement, yes, but also a little urgency, because time is not on your side. Every year, these coins disappear into the vaults of collectors who will never let them go. The market tightens, values rise, and your window of opportunity narrows. The question isn't whether these pennies are worth it. The question is whether you'll take the time to look before someone else cashes in. So ask yourself, what's in your drawer, your jar, your wallet right now? Is there a forgotten coin waiting to write a new chapter in your life? Wealth often hides in plain sight, disguised as something ordinary. And sometimes it takes nothing more than curiosity, a keen eye, and a little courage to uncover it. If this sparked something in you, don't let it fade. Start searching. Start learning. And if you're ready to turn your change into change, the kind that rewrites your future, make sure you stick with us. Subscribe now because in the next video we're diving even deeper into the rare coins most people miss and how you can be the one who spots them before it's too late. After all, it only takes one coin to change everything. And maybe, just maybe, that coin is already in your pocket. Imagine pulling open an old desk drawer, finding a jar of pennies you've ignored for decades, and realizing one tiny copper coin sitting in your palm could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's exactly the hidden truth of the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, an ordinary-looking coin that hides extraordinary value. And if you're not paying attention, you might let a life-changing opportunity slip right through your fingers. Now, most people glance at their change, see a penny, and think it's worthless. After all, it can't even buy a stick of gum. But here's the twist. Not every penny is created equal. Some carry a secret, a minting mistake, a rarity that makes collectors drool. The 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those secrets, and today, the market has valued the rarest examples at a staggering $971,000. That's right, less than $1 away from $1 million for a single copper cent. Let's step back for a second. Why would anyone pay this kind of money for a penny that looks like every other one you've seen? The answer lies in the silent world of coin errors and minting anomalies. In 1971, the Philadelphia Mint produced pennies without a mint mark. Now, thousands rolled off the machines, but only a fraction of those carried the kind of flawless strike, brilliant luster, and unique variations that make them astronomically valuable today. Imagine fishing for gold in a river. Most pebbles are common, but every so often, one glitters just a little differently. That's the penny collectors are after. This is where fear creeps in. How many of these coins have already slipped past ordinary people, handed over for gas, dropped in a tip jar, lost in a couch cushion? How many fortunes have disappeared because someone didn't take a moment to look? The truth is, the opportunity is still alive, but not for long. Every year, fewer of these pennies are found in circulation. Collectors are locking them away in cases, and once they vanish into private collections, the window closes for everyday people like you. Here's what separates the winners from the ones who keep saying, "What if?" The winners are the people who check their coins. They know what to look for. Sharp details on Lincoln's hair and beard. No signs of wear. A rich red copper tone untouched by time. And most importantly, the absence of any mint mark under the date. Condition is king. A worn-down coin might fetch a few bucks, but the flawless, uncirculated gems, the kind that shine like they were struck yesterday, are the ones commanding prices approaching $1 million at auction. And here's a piece of trivia that might make you smile. Some collectors say that the penny is the coin of destiny. It's the one you spot on the ground, pick up, and hope for good luck. But imagine if that lucky penny you pocketed wasn't just a symbol of fortune. It was literally your ticket to wealth. Who needs a four-leaf clover when you have a 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny glowing in your hand? But don't relax just yet. Here's where the urgency kicks in. With each passing year, the value of these rare coins doesn't just hold, it climbs. Investors and collectors are chasing them harder than ever. The record price today is $971,000. But history tells us something important. Rare coins don't go down in value. They become legends. The 1971 penny could be tomorrow's $2 million coin. If you hesitate, you risk letting someone else's fortune double while you sit back wishing you'd acted. Now, imagine what that kind of money could do. Pay off your house. Fund your children's or grandchildren's future. Build the lifestyle of freedom and security you've always dreamed about. And all from a coin most people pass over without a second glance. That's the real story here. It's not just about copper and numbers. It's about spotting opportunity where others see nothing. Of course, you might be wondering, what are the odds I actually have one? Fair question. The odds are slim. But isn't it worth a look? The next time you empty your pockets or roll up your change, that one careful glance could be the most profitable 30 seconds of your life. Because somebody out there, maybe you, is holding one of these million-dollar treasures and doesn't even know it. So here's the cliffhanger I'll leave you with. The story of the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't finished. Somewhere, in a jar, in a drawer, in a forgotten piggy bank, more of these coins are waiting to be discovered. The only question is, will the next person to uncover one be you? Or will you let the chance slip into someone else's hands? If you want to stay ahead, to know exactly which coins in your change could transform your financial future, then hit subscribe and join us. Because this penny is just the beginning. The world of hidden treasures inside your pocket change is larger, stranger, and far more valuable than you've ever imagined. And you won't want to miss what's coming next. What if I told you that a single coin, something you might have tossed into a jar years ago, could quietly be worth almost $1 million today. Not gold, not silver, not some exotic treasure locked away in a vault, but a simple brown penny, a 1975 Lincoln cent, no mint mark. Right now, in the coin collecting world, it holds a staggering market value of $975,000. Yes, a penny, worth more than most houses. Here's the shocking truth. Most people have no idea. They walk past their change, buy a coffee, pay their bills, never once imagining that the key to generational wealth could be hiding in plain sight. But the few who understand, the few who pay attention, are the ones who get rewarded. And today, you're about to learn exactly why this unassuming little coin is shaking the market, and how you might already own one without even knowing. The year was 1975. America was in transition, end of the Vietnam era, a cultural shift, a changing economy. The mint was striking millions of Lincoln cents, each carrying the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln. But hidden among the billions of ordinary strikes, a small number emerged without a mint mark, their surfaces carrying subtle differences, tiny imperfections that transformed them from everyday money into million-dollar artifacts. At first glance, a 1975 penny looks like any other. Coppery, worn from circulation, maybe even tossed at the bottom of a drawer. But under the collector's eye, rarity comes alive. No mint mark means it was produced in Philadelphia. Combine that with known die varieties, flawless examples, and errors unique to that year, and suddenly the value skyrockets. That's the paradox of coin collecting. What seems worthless to most can become priceless to a few. Now, you might be thinking, wait, so I could literally have one of these in a shoebox somewhere? And the answer is yes. That's what makes this so exciting and so terrifying. Imagine holding onto a fortune your whole life without realizing it. It's like owning a winning lottery ticket and using it as a bookmark. Collectors today are in a frenzy for rare Lincoln cents. Bidding wars break out at auctions. Prices soar beyond what anyone thought possible. Just last year, a pristine 1975 no-mint mark penny was appraised at close to $1 million. Think about that, 1 cent turned into $975,000. Could your retirement be hiding in an old coffee can? Here's the catch. Not every 1975 penny is valuable. Condition matters. Grading matters. Even the tiniest scratch can cut a coin's value in half. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are the gatekeepers. They authenticate, they certify, and they seal the coin in tamper-proof holders that investors trust. If you find a potential 1975 no-mint mark penny, sending it for grading is your golden ticket. But let's not gloss over the emotional side. Imagine the moment you open that envelope and see the grade MS66, MS67, maybe even higher. That feeling, that rush is something collectors live for. It's not just about money. It's about history in your hands, about holding a piece of America's story that no one else noticed. And yet, here's where the fear comes in. For every person who discovers their fortune, countless others unknowingly spend it. Pennies get rolled up and traded at the bank. They vanish into circulation, gone forever. That's the tragedy and the urgency. How many million-dollar pennies slipped away before anyone realized? How many more are still out there, hiding in the dark corners of a drawer in someone's kitchen right now? So let me ask you, when was the last time you checked your change? Have you ever looked closely with a magnifying glass, really studied the date, the details, the absence of a mint mark? Or are you like most people, too busy, too distracted, letting opportunities slide right through your fingers? Collectors aren't just buying coins. They're buying security, legacy, wealth that outlasts the dollar. Paper money inflates, markets collapse, but rare coins, those only grow rarer with time. And when the coin in question has reached myth-like status, like the 1975 no-mint mark penny, its value becomes untouchable. Here's the part nobody tells you. Coins like this don't just sell to collectors. They attract investors, hedge funds, even the ultra-wealthy. Why? Because they're tangible, they're finite, and they tell a story no stock certificate ever could. Imagine handing down not just money, but a legend. A coin so rare, your grandchildren's grandchildren would know its story. Now, before you rush to the coin jar, let me give you a cliffhanger. There's one specific variety of this 1975 penny, one with a nearly flawless strike, perfectly preserved, no mint mark, copper shimmering like the day it was minted, that experts believe could cross the $1 million threshold any day now. And it's out there. Someone has it. Maybe it's you. So here's my challenge to you. Go look. Dig through that old box of change. Check the back of your drawers, your closets, your forgotten piggy banks. Every 1975 penny you hold could be the key to rewriting your financial future. And if you find one, don't let it slip away. Don't be the person who spends a $1 million coin at the gas station. Be the one who recognized the opportunity, took action, and turned a penny into a fortune. If this sparked something inside you, if you're ready to learn more about the hidden treasures in your own pocket, then make sure you subscribe. Because today it's the 1975 penny, but tomorrow it could be another coin you've never thought twice about. And I promise you, the next story might just change your life. Imagine for a moment that the penny sitting in your drawer, the one you almost gave away for bubblegum change, could be worth more than a mansion on the coast. What if I told you that a small copper coin minted in 1976, with a tiny D mark pressed beneath the date, has the potential to change someone's life forever? And its current market value has climbed as high as $976,000. Suddenly, that little coin doesn't feel so small anymore, does it? The story of the 1976 D Lincoln penny is not just about metal and minting. It's about luck, history, and knowing when to pay attention to what others overlook. Every day, millions of these coins pass through pockets, grocery stores, lunch counters, and piggy banks. But hidden among them are rare variations, pristine strikes, and condition-perfect examples so valuable that collectors are prepared to bid their fortunes away just to own them. Now here's the catch. Most people throw them away without ever realizing what they held. That's the part that keeps me awake at night. What makes one penny ordinary and another extraordinary? Think about it. A coin minted in Denver in 1976 was created to commemorate the nation's bicentennial year. While the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins got special designs, the penny remained unchanged. But the silence of that decision created something more powerful: demand. Because in that year, collectors were already hyper-focused on coins, and anything unusual, errors, double strikes, sharp finishes, suddenly became a treasure chest. And today, nearly 50 years later, those few surviving specimens in mint state condition or bearing dramatic minting errors command prices that most people wouldn't believe unless they saw the auction records themselves. Here's where things get interesting. Imagine opening an old box from your parents' attic, sorting through coins, and suddenly spotting that small D under the 1976. First, nothing looks different, but under a magnifying glass, the details appear crisp, untouched, almost frozen in time. That's when the heart races. Could this be the one worth nearly $1 million? Collectors have paid hundreds of thousands for these rarities, and a handful have reached that nearly mythical $976,000 mark in private sales. If you're thinking, wait, people really pay that much for a penny? The answer is yes, because they're not just buying metal. They're buying history, exclusivity, and the thrill of holding something almost no one else on Earth has. Now, here's a warning you need to hear. Most people never bother to check. They let those pennies slip back into circulation, tossed in tip jars or swallowed by coin machines. Imagine the fear of realizing later that you gave away something that could have paid off your mortgage or funded your dream retirement. That's the tragedy I want you to avoid. The opportunity is real, but it demands awareness, patience, and knowledge. Let's step into the collector's mindset for a moment. They ask themselves, is the coin uncirculated? Does it gleam with its original luster? Are there die errors like double dates, off-center strikes, or unusual minting quirks that make it unique? And above all, is it authenticated and graded by a trusted service? A coin locked inside a professional slab, graded at the highest levels, isn't just metal. It's a verified piece of financial power. That's the level where we start talking about 6- and 7-figure valuations. One collector bids against another in a quiet auction room. The numbers climb: 200,000, 300, $500,000. Then silence, followed by a final bid that secures a single penny for nearly $1 million. All because someone once took the time to look closely to save rather than spend. Doesn't it make you want to check every single penny in your house right now? But here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. The true value of your coin doesn't just depend on the year or the mint mark. It could be hiding in the tiniest of details. A subtle doubling of the date. A misaligned strike. A condition so pristine it looks like it just left the mint yesterday. Without training your eye to catch those details, you might miss the golden ticket sitting right under your nose. And that's the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth. So, what should you do tonight? Gather your coins. Shine a light on them. Search for that 1976 D Lincoln penny. Get it appraised, graded, and authenticated if it looks promising. Because opportunities like this don't come often, and once that penny slips away, it's gone forever. Imagine the regret of letting it pass you by. This is not about chasing fantasies. It's about recognizing reality when it knocks. Coins like this exist, and they are changing lives for the lucky few who know how to look. The only question left is, will you be one of them? If you want to learn how to spot coins like this, how to protect your finds, and how to turn forgotten change into a wealthy lifestyle, then stay with this journey. Subscribe now because the next coin we uncover might just be the one sitting in your pocket today. And when that happens, you won't just be watching history. You'll be holding it in your hands. Do me a favor. Before you spend your next penny, take one last look. It might just be worth nearly $1 million. Imagine for a moment that the penny sitting quietly in your pocket could be the very key to rewriting your financial future. One tiny coin, struck in 1978, carrying no mint mark, is not just spare change. It could be worth as much as $978,000. Almost $1 million for a single cent sounds impossible, doesn't it? But that's exactly the mystery we're uncovering today. The truth is, coins are like hidden lottery tickets scattered across America. Most people walk past them, drop them in jars, or hand them over at the checkout line, never realizing what they just gave away. But those who stop and look closely, those who understand the secrets of the minting process, sometimes stumble on treasures that the rest of the world overlooks. The 1978 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is one of those treasures. So why is it so valuable? On the surface, it looks like any ordinary cent, copper-colored, Lincoln's profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Millions were made. But not all pennies are created equal. When errors occur at the mint, when slight variations slip past unnoticed, those coins suddenly step into another world. A world where rarity drives collectors into bidding wars and a humble penny skyrockets into a six-figure prize. Think about this. In 1978, the Philadelphia Mint produced pennies without a mint mark, which in itself is normal. But out of those millions, some coins carried tiny imperfections, die variations, and striking errors so subtle that only the trained eye can spot them. One such coin surfaced recently, and when it went to auction, collectors pushed its price to nearly $1 million. The room was buzzing, hands went up, and what began as a simple 1-cent coin became a fortune. Now here's where it gets interesting. You might already have one of these coins without realizing it. Maybe it's sitting in an old coffee can, tucked away in a drawer, or sitting forgotten in a dusty jar in the garage. Picture yourself pouring out those pennies, spotting the date 1978, seeing no mint mark. Your heart starts racing. Could this be the one? Could this be the penny that changes everything? And here's a sobering thought. Every day, people unknowingly spend these rare coins. They slip through vending machines, roll into coin-counting machines, or get tossed into tip jars. Imagine the fear of knowing you might have held $1 million coin in your hand and let it slip away without a second glance. That's why collectors constantly remind us, knowledge is wealth. But let's step back for a second. You might be wondering, how on earth can you tell if your 1978 penny is one of the valuable ones? The first step is simple. Look at the condition. Grading matters. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition is like fine wine. It grows in value the better it's preserved. Then look for any unusual features. Doubled lettering, die cracks, off-center strikes. Small things that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. It's like spotting a diamond in a pile of glass. Collectors, dealers, and even auction houses are on the hunt for these rare finds. Why? Because coins are history you can hold. They carry the fingerprints of a nation's past. And when combined with rarity, they become artifacts of immense value. And in today's market, where tangible assets are becoming more appealing than ever, rare coins like the 1978 penny are not just collectibles, they're investments. Now, let me ask you something. If you had the chance to turn a penny into nearly $1 million, would you take it? Of course you would. But the real question is, will you actually go and look? Most people won't. They'll shrug it off, laugh, and say, "What are the odds?" But the ones who take action, the ones who search, those are the people who win. The story of the 1978 no-mint mark penny is more than just about money. It's about possibility. It's about paying attention to the small details that others ignore. Because sometimes the smallest things in life carry the biggest rewards. And isn't that a lesson worth remembering? So tonight, when you empty your pockets, when you dig through that old change jar, look carefully. Because buried in that pile of ordinary coins could be your once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And if you find it, you won't just be holding a penny. You'll be holding the chance to live the kind of life most people only dream about. Don't let opportunity slip away. Start searching, start learning, and start building the wealth you deserve. And if you want more hidden stories like this, more secrets of rare coins that could change your life, make sure to subscribe. Because the next coin we uncover might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Imagine opening your wallet, reaching for a coin you've overlooked for decades, and realizing it could buy you a luxury home, a fleet of cars, or even pay for your entire retirement. Sounds impossible, right? What if I told you the unassuming 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? Yes, that plain brown coin hiding at the bottom of a change jar has been discovered to carry a value so staggering it touches nearly $1 million in today's market. Suddenly, every penny you've ever ignored feels like a lottery ticket waiting to be scratched. But let's pause for a moment. Millions of these pennies were minted. So why on earth would anyone pay close to $1 million for one? That's the mystery that makes collectors lose sleep at night, and it's exactly why you need to hear the story until the very end. The late 1970s was a turning point in U.S. coinage. Inflation was rising, copper prices were soaring, and the mint was under pressure. In 1979, billions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses, but a small fraction carried hidden quirks that transformed them into treasures. These quirks weren't mistakes in the usual sense. They were anomalies so rare that most Americans would never notice them unless they looked under magnification. And yet, those tiny imperfections are now responsible for 6- and 7-figure auction results. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The 1979 no-mint mark penny was struck in Philadelphia, which traditionally left coins without a mint mark. At first glance, it looks like pocket change you'd use to buy a stick of gum. But the key lies in its condition. Imagine a penny that has survived more than 4 decades without a single scratch, nick, or blemish. Almost like it was frozen in time. When such a coin surfaces in pristine mint state condition, wealthy collectors fight over it like it's the last Rembrandt painting in the world. Recently, one of these flawless survivors commanded nearly $979,000 at auction, shocking even seasoned numismatists. Now, I can almost hear your thoughts. How could anyone pay close to $1 million for a penny? Isn't that just madness? The answer lies in rarity, perfection, and human desire. People don't just buy coins, they buy history, scarcity, and the thrill of owning what almost nobody else can. It's no different than paying millions for a baseball card, a vintage watch, or a piece of art. In fact, coins are often considered safer than art because they're backed by precious metals and centuries of tradition. Here's where the story takes a dramatic twist. For every million 1979 pennies in circulation, only a handful will ever make the cut. And the terrifying truth? Most of them have already been scratched, tarnished, or destroyed in circulation. Every day, someone unknowingly spends a coin that could have been worth hundreds of thousands, slipping it into a vending machine for a can of soda. Can you imagine that? Trading generational wealth for a sugary drink. It's both tragic and darkly humorous, but it happens more often than you think. So how do you know if you're holding one of these treasures? First, examine the coin for clarity of strike. Every line of Lincoln's face should appear razor sharp. Second, look at the luster. Does it shine like it was minted yesterday? Third, check for signs of wear. Even the smallest blemish can slash its value by thousands. And finally, if you believe you've found something remarkable, get it professionally graded. Collectors trust third-party grading companies, and a high-grade certification can transform a penny into a life-changing asset. Here's a chilling thought. What if the penny you tossed into a coin jar last year was one of these? What if the coin you gave your grandchild for good luck could have bought them a mansion? Every choice we make with our change could carry consequences we don't see. That's why every smart collector treats each penny with suspicion and hope. It's a puzzle that just might unlock fortune. The market today is buzzing with excitement. With record-breaking sales, investors are flocking to coins as an alternative to volatile stocks and real estate. And when a 1979 penny without a mint mark approaches the $1 million mark, you know the frenzy is real. The urgency is clear. Every year, fewer of these coins remain in top condition, and once they're snapped up by wealthy collectors, they vanish into private vaults, possibly never to be seen again. Think about it. The same coin you could find for a cent might be worth a lifetime of wealth. That reality is both thrilling and terrifying. The window of opportunity is closing, and the question is simple. Will you be the one to seize it, or will you let it slip through your fingers? So the next time you see a 1979 penny with no mint mark, stop. Hold it up to the light. Study it carefully. Because while most people see only a dull copper coin, you now know the truth. It could be your ticket to freedom, luxury, and a future you never imagined possible. If this story has opened your eyes to the hidden wealth in plain sight, don't let the journey end here. Subscribe now because in the coming videos, we'll uncover more coins that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. And who knows, the next great discovery could be waiting in your hands right now.